Okay, so this is a Zenith 78H20. I believe this is from around 47 or 48. I think it's one of the first Zenith tabletops to have their giant 8-inch speaker in it. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but this does have both FM bands on it. It has the FM 100 and FM 50. And I think they only made dual FM band radios like that for a few years. The first one were 1946. That's when the FM band was moved to this current place, 88 to 108. And I think by 49, Zenith had dropped the FM 50 band off all the radios. You can see it here, 42 to 48. So kind of interesting to see that on these old radios. Of course, it's completely useless today because I don't think anything is broadcast there. If it is, it's certainly not receivable on the FM band. This is a plastic. I don't know if it's Bakelite or not, but it's painted white. And unfortunately, some of the paint is coming off. It's especially bad on the top. You can see the paint scratched off there. Some of the decals on the front are coming off. I believe on the unpainted ones, these were not decals, they're actually molded into the plastic. At least on later ones. I have like the early 50s versions of this. The volume and the bands were actually molded into the plastic instead of decals, but this one the decals and they're falling off. Take it back. This one does actually have the back being held on by one single screw, so pretty loose. Lucky to get that. Usually these backs are missing. The cord is falling apart there, so I'll definitely have to fix that before plugging it in. If I can take the back off real quick. Take a look at what's inside here. Okay, so these clips come off. That's probably why the rest of them are missing. Comes off. That's good. You can see there's just 2 bolts here, so you can just take these bolts out and rewire that cord in. The rest of the cord actually seems pretty flexible, so probably just broke here because there's no string relief there, so it's just the flexing there broke the installation. So we'll just cut this off and rewire the remaining good part of the cord in. Actually, I spoke too soon. It's not looking so healthy there either. You can see that one's right up. But luckily, we can replace that too. So we'll cut it here, and rewire it into the radio and the plug. Should be pretty easy. Got a free light bulb, it looks like. That's interesting. Pull these knobs off the front. Surprisingly easy. Those knobs are stuck on. See how this one? It's not easy too. That's nice. Let's take a look at the chassis is loose in there because there are actually no chassis screws. Of course there aren't. This will just slide right up now. Oh, okay. This must have fallen out of here. That's interesting, though. Not usually these I thought were Nixie bolts. See if I can get that socket out. Stabbing my fingers and it's tight. I'll have to get a pliers or something. It's a banding cat, so you have to push it in and turn it. If I can get it with this. Nope. Push it up with that. I'll have to probably. If I can't get that out. I'm just going to just. There we go. So yeah, the bulb just fell right out of there. It's very strange. Usually these are like, it's very weird. And that's the kind of base that I expect to see like on an old style headlight or taillight bulb. Usually in the automotive bulbs you have like, this is ground and then one pin for the dim filament like for your taillights, and then another pin for the brighter filament like for the brake lights. But the socket is right for that thing. I'm sure you can see. Ooh. In the socket it does have 2 pins in there, so weird. Just one of the wires going into there is completely lost all its insulation. So I'll have to take a look at that and make sure that that is not a short potential, which it might be. I might just change this socket because I'm not sure. See, this is a regular, like, small low wattage filament bulb, but with the double bayonet cap base. Can't say I've seen that before. Interesting. Anyway, let's take a look at what we got underneath here. Let's see if I can find a light. Alright, shine the light on here. See a couple of bumblebee caps and one paper cap. It looks like the ends are blowing out of it. Selenium rectifier. I like the nice orange color on that. Lincoln later radios, they were just like a dull gray. It's a nice bright orange one. Not a whole lot of paper caps in here. If you remember on my Zenith 8H034 video, that thing was pretty full with paper caps. You know, like in the middle part here, you couldn't even see down to the chassis. There were so many layers of caps in it. This one doesn't look too bad, just a small handful there. So I think what I'm going to do is rewire the cord back in so we can plug this in and just see what it does. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the power cord is also broken. I mentioned in my previous video why the... Just a little bit of this. I think I mentioned in another video why my settings are different now. Because my company relocated me across the country with only 4 days notice, which is rather irritating. So that's why I don't have my nice bright lighting setup that I had previously. So we've got all our tubes in here. I got a top view of that. It's all miniature tubes in this one. I'm not sure if this is the model that directly followed the 88034, but it would follow pretty closely after that. 88034 was 46, this is probably 47 or 48. And the 88034, it had only one miniature tube and the rest were all octal. Notice this cap here looks new too. Well, not new, but not original. And it looks like a permanent magnet speaker. 88034, it was a field coil speaker. So it's interesting what happened here. Oh, this thing came right out. It was stuck in the knob, I just pulled it out of here. So this was actually supposed to go on there for the daughter cord to ride on. So that'll have to be rectified as well. That's the band switch. Seems a bit stiff, but that's probably just because it's on there. So I'm going to see if I can fix this so I can at least easily turn that. So we can try some tuning and fix up the cord and see where we go from there. So I got this back on this little post, and you can see our tuning now works. This still has no string though, so I have to fix that. Why are those turning together? Just need some oil. You can see this is the original knot. Focus. No, it won't focus. There we go. This is the original knot that was in that little metal box there, so I did my best to mimic that and shove it down in the little metal box, and I'll just cut these short and solder them on here. And I've already rewired the plug. So the reason why this thing came off, I wasn't supposed to, is because it looks like there's supposed to be a snap ring or a C-clip or something there that is missing. Actually, there's some kind of clip on here. What if I could just steal this one? No, because then that shaft's going to pull out. So I have to figure out something to put on there so that when you go to pull the knob off, you don't rip this whole thing right out. This is back together. I didn't notice this before, but it actually looks like this is polarized here. This hole just a little bit bigger than that one, if you'd focus. It's not super obvious, but it does look that way. Look at the back of the chassis here. It does look like that one pin is bigger than the other one. The plug that's on here right now is unpolarized. I doubt that this is the original plug, however. This will have to be replaced at some point, because even though it's still nice and flexible, anytime you give it like a sharp bend, the insulation starts cracking. So this is not going to be a permanent solution here, but for today, for testing purposes, it should do all right. So we'll just stick this back in here. And when I do, put the, I put it on backwards. So yeah, it is polarized. It won't go on this way. I must have put this plate in, flipped around, so I have to take this back off and flip it back around so the polarization lines up. But in sometime in the future, I will have to replace this cord, and when I do that, I will use a polarized cord and make sure that the polarity matches with this polarity so that everything is fine there. Alright, so I got that flip back around, and now this slides on real nice. Sure this is off. I'm not sure what kind of AM reception we'll get. I mean, if it even works at all, but because my light right now is a metal halide light, which is probably going to cause a bunch of AM interference. But let's plug this in. Oh yeah, I also clipped this wire here because you can see it just the insulation fell off, so I just cut that so that it doesn't short out, because I'm sure that they'll have to be replaced. I mean, this wire would have to be replaced if we wanted to use it anyway, so just cut that for now. And I might end up replacing the socket if I can't find a proper bulb for it. Let's see what happens. Oh, at least one tube is glowing. So I'm sure this is a series string set. One is lit up. They all have to have continuity. a short band we're on. That sounds like Silver Liquor Disease, doesn't it? But it could just be others too. Look at all these tubes. Ta-da! Well, that was easy. Better not get a copyright strike. Copyright, please put enough ads on my other videos. We are missing the shield for the RF tube. You can see there it's this tube is supposed to have a shield around it. You can see the little pins down there that would be holding that. My early 1950s version of this radio without the lower FM band, they just had a real cheap shield. Basically just a piece of cardboard with some foil wrapped around it. So I could fabricate that if I need it.
Unless maybe you're being pursued by a group. Otherwise.
Well, not bad. It's probably the first time it's seen power in who knows how many years, and basically all it needed was rewiring the power cord and wiggling the tubes.
And the city has been the owner of the arena since it opened in 1992. And the arena opened at a time when we were really struggling in terms of the revitalization of downtown because the energy.
So you watch up here. Oop, now we got nothing again. Try wiggling the tube some more. Should probably go through and clean the tube sockets. Yeah, oh, it's this one. Maybe that socket is failing. Nah, I can't get it to come back in. Alright, well, I guess I'll have to play with that for a while. Trying to figure out why this. It almost was. Might be that the socket is wearing out. If I remember correctly, they just have two little fingers like that that are close together. When you put the tube in, it just spreads the fingers apart. But if the fingers are loose, after who knows how many years of changing tubes, I'm not sure if any of these tubes are original. The questionable one over here I see says, oh, it's hot. Usually these RF tubes don't get that hot. That one is hot. This one says GE on it. It's really hot. Oh. It's a GE tube. See the socket down there, maybe. There was light. Focus. See, it's just like two little fingers that come and squeeze the tube pin. So I'm going to see if I can bend some of those back over and see if that makes a difference. Let's see if that changes anything. Would say no.
To my happiness. She was very relieved to have me away from the annual holiday sugar binges and weight gain that my granny
the speakers got a little loud.
provided.
So the tube socket still needs some more attention.
Everything good about Christmas. Her language of love was
Speaker
food.
might need some
She
attention
was
too.
an excellent baker and cook. Would cook for weeks in preparation for Christmas Eve, when all of her children and grandchildren would gather
See
at
if
her
AM
house.
works. Sounds like nothing. Not sure what position is what. That might be FM 50. Okay, FM 100 is in the middle, so that's probably FM 50. Let's try. That might be AM. Maybe not. Sounds like nothing there. We want to switch this to 32. Sounds like my switch might be dirty. Either that or my lamp interference is overpowering everything. Let me get a knob on this and bother my fingers. Two just failed.
Christmas really is.
There's some static there now. Not hearing anything.
At less than 835-5775. That's it.
That must be AM.
New customers only.
Overweight people than ever before. Supports the fact of what I've been saying all along. You can't exercise off a bad diet. You can't. In our
So,
was the right way.
FM and AM.
There's many fit.
Turn that down. FM and AM seem to work. Actually, I can turn this off now. I'll have to do a bit better job cleaning that tube socket. And I think I will also change some of the capacitors in here. Because as you saw before, they are the Black Beauty type, which enjoy exploding when they go bad. As far as the selenium, it's a little bit warm, but they do get warm. It's not like super hot, like it would have, you know, a super high resistance. It doesn't look burnt or anything. Might leave the selenium in for now, but see these Black Beauties here. See how many are there? There's actually more than I thought. There's 3, 6 right there, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see at least 10, 11. So I'll probably go through and change those, and also this paper one, which looks like it's about to puff out the end. Go do that, clean up that tube socket, and that might be it for now. And someday down the road we'll have to change this out too. Okay, so I replaced all the Black Beauty capacitors. Here's all the old ones here. I don't really expect any improvement in performance. I mean, it was performing pretty well before. And I found that usually when you replace Black Beauties, I don't think you get that much better performance out of them. I mean, when you change out the paper capacitors, then yeah, the performance usually goes up because a lot of those are leaky. But I'm not sure that the Black Beauties like leak like that or get lossy. I think they just short and, you know, explode. At least in my limited experience, I found that replacing the paper capacitors usually gets you a minimal performance gain, but changing Black Beauties doesn't always. So anyway, I've got my meter here hooked up. So I've got one clip right on the main filter capacitor there. I'm going to check the voltage there just to make sure our selenium is pretty healthy. So you can see the meter there. And yes, I do have it hooked up backwards because I seem to have lost the red clip for my meter. The clips just slide on the end of the probes. And I can only put the black clip on the black meter, or the black probe, because the little insert that goes inside the clip that grabs onto the probe has detached itself from the clip and is now stuck on the probe. So if I try to put this probe inside that clip, it's just going to like wobble around and fall out. Yeah, I'll show you what I mean later, but 131 volts, that seems fine to me because there is going to be some voltage drop across the selenium, and there's also a power resistor right there that it goes through first. You can't even see what I'm pointing at. Right here, behind my probe. See that, that brown cylinder with the red stripe? That is a power resistor that's going to drop the voltage some more. So I think 131 is perfectly fine for this radio. I can look up a spec and make sure, but that looks pretty good to me. You know, if it was down somewhere around 90, that would definitely be too low, but I'm thinking that's pretty good for this. So, that should basically be it. I'm going to put it back in the cabinet. Sometime down the road we'll have to do some painting or something on the cabinet, but turn that off for now. Okay. You can see this is looking out in the front of the cabinet. Yes, it's upside down, but you can see that there's some kind of tar type material. I guess to hold this cardboard on, it's like a speaker sealant. I'm not exactly sure. But whatever it is, it's melted and is now on the back of the dial here. So I'm going to see if I can clean that off. You can see, actually you can't see because it's not in frame. But this actually acts as a light pipe that would go down here, and this is where that light bulb would sit, and it would shine the light up through here to light up all the station numbers. So hopefully I can figure out some kind of solution for the light bulb, because it might be kind of a cool effect at night. So I said I'm going to come back to the cabinet another day and do that. I have to find something to strip this paint off. Also to find something to get the tar out of here. And while I'm gathering those supplies, I'll also have to gather a new light socket and light bulb. And got some new decals. I believe they make reproductions of these. Somebody does. So I'll have to pick up a set of those. If these were in good shape yet, I would probably try and leave them alone and just somehow fix the paint around it, but since they're already falling off, I may as well just take them off and replace them with new ones. So I have to look into that and replace the power cord at some point. All that stuff's going to happen in the future, but for today, this is working and should be pretty safe now that we got rid of the exploding black beauty capacitors. Not sure what band will.
I think there's an elf, I'm pretty sure it's an elf anyway, who goes around to comment.
What's wrong with my volume control here? It was working fine a moment ago.
Here's the deal with that. That means you never know who you're reaching with your year and gift.
Well, I just started acting up. I might have to take it apart and clean that. That's the first time. This whole repair, I was working just fine, and all of a sudden it started to act weird. Anyway, it's got plenty of volume.
Can help you maximize this year's budget and find the right business PCs with 8th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 8775.
I believe the only antenna this has is this power cord here. I'm pretty sure it's using that. Didn't actually look at the schematic to verify, but usually you can either use the line cord as the antenna or hook up a external antenna. And then it depends on where you have this position. So see, if I lift the cord up, that's one reception. So definitely using that as an antenna. It doesn't have AFC or anything like that. Well, I was pretty impressed with my 8H034, even without AFC. If you set that on a station, it usually stays on the station. So pretty interesting. I'm not sure if it's related or not, but you notice that there were no ceramic disc caps in here. The only low value caps are either mica or the tubular ceramics, and I'm not sure if those drift less. I know micas drift less, but I'm not sure that the tubular ceramics might drift less than the disc ceramics, which could be why these older radios do a little bit better without AFC than the later ones with the disc capacitors.
know, Barry, we're going to continue to pound it, because you know what that's going to do? At 2 o'clock, it's going to keep the defensive line on.
And of course, without AFC, you have to get right on the station to
eventually
pick anything up.
The time possession. We're going to have more plays than they do. We're going to begin.
I'm gonna put that number a little bit too far. I did also wrap a little piece of wire around the shaft here to keep that back shaft back on the smaller shaft, since it was missing the C-clip, and it seems to be working. So that one, if I lift the wire up, it actually gets less reception. Troy AM.
Contend that a Article 5 convention, no matter how you call it, will inherently claim...
The AM has a loop antenna in the back. Well. Yeah, I definitely have to figure out what's going on with that. It's really weird that it just started doing that, though.
People are exactly at that place. They have, no people have solar. They probably looked at solar. They go to the doctor.
But vitamin C is like partially water.
Move on to the issue that may lead to a government shutdown. It is immigration. I want to play for something you...
You watched some filming. Yeah, you remember these Colts when they were giving up 5 sacks a game. They couldn't...
Journal Occupational Health Science built on previous research by examining a common stressful...
Alright, so still, not bad reception for something that's what? Almost 70 years old? No, over 70 years old. It's at least 70 years old. I think 47 or 48 were the only years they made these with the FM 50 band. There's FM 45 on there. I don't think you call it the FM 50, but it does say FM 45 on there. Anyway, works. Basically, didn't really need that much work. Just replace the capacitors for peace of mind, so one doesn't randomly blow up. But other than that, there it is. In the future, sometime I'll have to go a little further on the cabinet, but also have to get back in there and just clean that control. But for now, there it is. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.